Day number 64. Read the Bible in a year. Numbers chapter 23 through 25. Chapter 23. Balaam said to Balak, "Build here 7 altars for me, and prepare here 7 bulls and 7 rams for me." Balak did as Balaam had spoken, and Balak and Balaam offered on every altar a bull and a ram. Balaam said to Balak, "Stand by your burnt offering, and I will go. Perhaps the Lord will come to meet me. Whatever he shows me, I will tell you." He went to a bare height. God met Balaam, and he said to him, "I have prepared the 7 altars, and I have offered up a bull and a ram on every altar." The Lord put a word in Balaam's mouth and said, "Return to Balak, and thus you shall speak." He returned to him, and behold, he was standing by his burnt offering, he and all the princes of Moab. He took up his parable and said, "From Aram has Balak brought me, the king of Moab, from the mountains of the east. Come, curse Jacob for me. Come, defy Israel. How shall I curse whom God has not cursed? How shall I defy whom the Lord has not defiled? For from the top of the rocks I see him, from the hills I see him. It is a people that dwells alone, and shall not be listed among the nations. Who can count the dust of Jacob, or count the 4th part of Israel? Let me die the death of the righteous. Let my last end be like his." Balak said to Balaam, "What have you done to me? I took you to curse my enemies, and you've blessed them altogether." He answered and said, "Must I not heed to speak that which the Lord puts in my mouth?" Balak said to him, "Please come with me to another place where you may see them. You shall just see part of them and shall not see all of them. Curse them from there for me." He took him into the field of Zophim to the top of Pisgah and built 7 altars there. He offered up a bull and a ram on every altar. He said to Balak, "Stand here by your burnt offering while I meet God over there." The Lord met Balaam and put a word in his mouth and said, "Return to Balak and say this." He came to him, and he was standing by his burnt offering, and the princes of Moab with him. Balak said to him, "What has the Lord spoken?" He took up his parable and said, "Rise up, Balak, and hear. Listen to me, you son of Zippor. God is not a man that he should lie, nor a son of man that he should repent. Has he said, and he won't do it? Or has he spoken, and he won't make it good? I have received a command to bless. He has blessed, and I can't reverse it. He has not seen iniquity in Jacob, neither has he seen perverseness in Israel. The Lord his God is with him. The shout of a king is among them. God brings them out of Egypt. He has, as it were, the strength of a wild ox. Surely there is no enchantment with Jacob, neither is there any divination with Israel. Now it shall be said of Jacob and of Israel, what has God done? A people rise up as a lioness. As a lion he lifts himself up. He shall not lie down until he eats of the prey and drinks of the blood of the slain. Balak said to Balaam, "Neither curse them at all, nor bless them at all." But Balaam answered Balak, "Didn't I tell you all that the Lord speaks, that I must do?" Balak said to Balaam, "Come now, I will take you to another place. Perhaps it will please God that you may curse them for me from there." So Balak took Balaam to the top of Peor that looks down on the desert. Balaam said to Balak, "Build 7 altars for me here, and prepare 7 bulls and 7 rams for me here." Balak did as Balaam had said, and offered up a bull and a ram on every altar.
Numbers 24. When Balaam saw that it pleased the Lord to bless Israel, he didn't go, as at the other times, to use divination, but he set his face toward the wilderness. Balaam lifted up his eyes, and he saw Israel dwelling according to their tribes, and the Spirit of God came on him. He took up his parable and said, "Balaam, the son of Beor, says, the man whose eyes are open says, he says, who hears the word of God, who sees the vision of the Almighty, falling down and having his eyes open? How goodly are your tents, Jacob, and your dwellings, Israel. As valleys, they are spread out, as gardens by the riverside, as aloes which the Lord has planted, as cedar trees beside the waters. Water shall flow from his buckets. His seed shall be in many waters. His king shall be higher than Agag. His kingdom shall be exalted. God brings him out of Egypt. He has, as it were, the strength of the wild ox. He shall consume the nations. His adversaries shall break their bones in pieces and pierce them with his arrows. He couched, he lay down as a lion, as a lioness. Who shall rouse him up? Everyone who blesses you is blessed. Everyone who curses you is cursed. Balak's anger burnt against Balaam, and he struck his hands together. Balak said to Balaam, I called you to curse my enemies, and you have altogether blessed them these 3 times. Therefore, flee to your place now. I thought to promote you to great honor, but the Lord has kept you back from honor. Balaam said to Balak, didn't I also tell your messengers whom you sent to me, saying, if Balak would give me his house full of silver and gold, I can't go beyond the Lord's word to do either good or bad from my own mind. I will say what the Lord says. Now, I go to my people. Come, I will inform you what this people shall do to your people in the latter days. He took up his parable and said, Balaam, the son of Beor, says, the man whose eyes are open says, he says, who hears the words of God, knows the knowledge of the Most High, and who sees the vision of the Almighty, falling down and having his eyes open? I see him, but not now. I see him, but not near. A star will come out of Jacob. A scepter will rise out of Israel, and shall strike through the corners of Moab, and crush all the sons of Sheth. Edom shall be a possession. Seir, his enemy, also shall be a possession, while Israel does valiantly. Out of Jacob shall one have dominion, and shall destroy the remnant from the city. He looked at Amalek, and took up his parable, and said, Amalek was the first of the nations, but his latter end shall come to destruction. He looked at the Kenite, and took up his parable, and said, your dwelling place is strong, your nest is set in the rock. Nevertheless, Cain shall be wasted, until Ashur carries you away captive. He took up his parable and said, who shall live when God does this? But ships shall come from the coast of Kittim. They shall afflict Ashur and shall afflict Eber. He also shall come to destruction. Balaam rose up and went and returned to his place, and Balak also went his way.
Numbers chapter 25. Israel stayed in Shittim, and the people began to play the prostitute with the daughters of Moab. For they called the people to the sacrifices of their gods. The people ate and bowed down to their gods. Israel joined himself to Baal Peor, and the Lord's anger burnt against Israel. The Lord said to Moses, take all the chiefs of the people and hang them up to the Lord before the sun, that the fierce anger of the Lord may turn away from Israel. Moses said to the judges of Israel, everyone kill his men who have joined themselves to Baal Peor. One of the children of Israel came and brought to his brothers a Midianite woman in the sight of Moses and in the sight of all the congregation of the children of Israel, while they were weeping at the door of the tent of meeting. When Phinehas, son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, saw it, he rose up from the middle of the congregation and took a spear in his hand. He went after the man of the Israelite into the pavilion and thrust both of them through, the man of Israel and the woman, through her body. So the plague was stopped among the children of Israel. Those who died by the plague were 24,000. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, has turned my wrath away from the children of Israel, in that he was jealous with my jealousy among them, so that I didn't consume the children of Israel in my jealousy. Therefore say, Behold, I give to him a covenant of peace. It shall be to him and to his offspring after him the covenant of an everlasting priesthood, because he was as jealous for his God, and made atonement for the children of Israel. Now the name of the man of Israel that was slain, who was slain with the Midianite woman, was Zimri, the son of Salu, a prince of a father's house among the Simeonites. The name of the Midianite woman who was slain was Cosbi, the daughter of Zur. He was head of the people of his father's house in Midian. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Harass the Midianites and strike them, for they harassed you with their wiles, wherein they have deceived you in the matter of Peor, and in the incident regarding Cosbi, the daughter of the prince of Midian, their sister, who was slain on the day of the plague in the matter of Peor. You know, this portion of the story where Balaam and Balak are up on the mountaintop, I really see Balak really trying to water down Balaam's convictions. You know, he's telling him, curse these people. And Balaam said, I can't curse them outside of what God tells me to say. And, you know, not once, not twice, but 3 times again, he says, just do it. I'll take you into another viewpoint, but just curse them. And he says, I can't. And the amazing thing is he turns it around the end and almost curses Balak for his stubbornness and his pride.
Well, it did say that when he was talking at the end, he talks about how whoever is going to bless Israel, they're going to be blessed, right? And then whoever curses, they're going to be cursed. And so it turned it on its head. Here was, it was Balak who was trying to influence Balaam, and Balak is getting cursed. He's receiving a curse from the person he was trying to influence. And so what I see here that God is teaching us is to stand firm on our convictions.
Yes.
There's going to be people who are going to try to manipulate us, who are going to try to twist things. Hey, look at it from this angle, like he was taking them up to different hills. Well, look at it from this angle. And I think that just happens every day, where people want to say something to you to influence you. In fact, I had that happen to me today. I won a bunch of money, prizes on The Price is Right, which is really cool. And I was doing some, getting some information on taxes, because about 37% was kept back, but we have a treaty with Canada, so there's a chance I could get back 30%. And it's a large amount. It's over 10,000 Canadian dollars, or US dollars. And I'm not going to say who the tax person was, but they said, well, you could kind of fudge it a bit so that, you could get it and hope that you don't get audited later on. And I just told the person straight up, I just said, I'm a Christian. That's not something I'm going to do. So I'm going to send it in the right way, and I'll take my chances. So that was just today. Mm-hmm. And so again, there was that temptation, and said, oh yeah, for sure. I felt that temptation, but I'm like, nope, I'm not going there. I'm just going to do the right thing. And if I don't get it, I don't get it. We'll find out. We'll find out in maybe a year if I get a surprise check. But if I don't, at least I've held on to my integrity.
Yeah, that's good. A little bit surprised, though, to see that right after this, when Balaam is standing up for the integrity of Israel, because God is telling him to, we scan down to Israelites, and they're falling into prostituting themselves and sleeping with the women and worshiping other gods.
Was it the Midianite women?
The Midianite women, yeah. And we get a glimpse of this guy, Phinehas, the grandson of Aaron the priest, who stands up for his convictions and stops the plague by killing the sinner, the guy who was the prince of the nation, one of the princes. He drives a spear right through him.
There was Phinehas,
the
grandson of Aaron, who was the priest, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me, in that, I just see the teaching, and God's character for us is his seriousness about sin,
Yes.
and also his seriousness about public belligerent sin. I mean, the person came in with this woman, and they were all just crying. Like, they were on their faces crying at this point and repenting, just feeling really bad for what they had done, because all these people had just died. And he just walks in. He was the son of a prince. She came from a big family as well. And it just gave me this sense of entitlement. He just walked in with this entitlement, I can do what I want. And took no kind of warning, or just took no conscience towards right and wrong. And he just did what he shouldn't have been doing, but in front of everybody.
It was so blatant and
Yeah.
open and public display
Yeah.
of disobedience to God.
Yeah.
That's what's scary.
Yeah.
And then you see the character of Phineas saying, this can't happen.
Yeah.
And he puts a stop to it. And the amazing thing is the plague stopped at that moment. It killed 24,000 people. But because of one man's righteousness, it stopped the death.
And it also shows us that it doesn't matter how rich we are, how popular we are, what our standing is in the society, we all stand evenly before God.
So true.
And the responsibility that we have in our lives is the same for anybody, regardless of their economic or socioeconomic status. We're all the same. And so the people that Phineas killed, they were both people who were high up in society, but God was showing something here. Didn't matter what they had become. They were responsible for their sin, and they were going to get punished, and did get punished. Well, it was with their lives for what they did. And just how they were about to go into the promised land, and God wanted to make sure that they were pure and clean, and not bringing this corruptness in with them.
They didn't want to bring in a bunch of garbage that they'd have to deal with later on. Start new and start fresh. And that's kind of what we see in God's character. He wants us to have a new beginning with him.
And to stay that way.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I see is in relationships. What had happened is they had gotten influenced by the women of the Midianite women, and they'd prostituted themselves with the women, and how God had said, he wanted them to be pure. They got influenced by following the gods of the prostitute women because they became intimate with them. And I really see how in our lives today, how we have to be really careful who we choose as our partner, our lifelong partner, because if our partner is someone who doesn't believe in God, who doesn't follow God in the same way, have the same convictions, and this holds true in any kind of religion, really, we're going to be influenced,
Sure.
By our closest relationship. But not only that, but how can we fully worship with our full heart and do that fully with somebody who doesn't believe the same thing as us? So I just really see the importance of our relationships and who we choose for our spouse, who we choose for our partner, to believe in the same way, have the same convictions, as we do.
Absolutely. Great point. See you again next time.